Alrighty then, time to work on some original raps and some original content. I'm just log on to YouTube here. Okay. See, there's a bit of a demand for a new epic rap battle of history. Well, gee whiz, I haven't noticed. Who's getting rowdy in this one? Let's check it out.
Deadpool versus Boba Fett!
Nice.
No.
I'm here. Hi, I'm Mateo, and this is Chisel This, a web series where I teach and analyze lyrical structure, aesthetic design, and story elements of works of art. Deadpool vs. Boba Fett is a prime example of why epic rap battles of histories is one of the series that I decided to devote my time to. It's really becoming nothing short of a rap battle-based feature film on the small screen. There's a lot of people that make this all happen, so kudos to all involved, but I'm going to take you into the philosophical aspect of orchestrating content such as this, to outline details that ERB fully utilizes, whether subconsciously or not. And as always, you can click here or check the description for timestamps of where you'd like to skip to in this video if you're impatient like me. But if you'd like to continue watching all the way through, let's start right here. It's the rogue anti-hero Deadpool.
Oh, is it me? Well, here's my first issue.
The cancer-ridden patient who was scientifically mutated into an indestructible mercenary, one with a large sense of humor and a bit of an uncontrollable mental stability, versus the silent bounty hunter Boba Fett.
'Cause right now, you're no good to me, Deadpool.
The token Star Wars character who is famous for being nothing that no one doesn't know he's not. Did that make sense? A shell of a character whose voided timeline is filled by conspiracy, fanfiction, and voice actor discrepancies. People wanted to see Deadpool, and Star Wars is ever present, even more so now with the release of the new film. So Deadpool was a perfect excuse to use Boba Fett again because, you know, with Boba Fett's history with epic rap battles, there's a perfect opportunity to break the fourth wall. Something that they would basically have to do if they were ever to bring Boba Fett back. Other clashes of the character, such as the reuse of the quote, "You're no good to me, dead."
He's no good to me, dead.
Cool. It's one of those lines that confirms the matchup, basically. Once you get there, it's like, all right, we're doing this. This is locked and loaded, we're doing it. Now look, I'm your guy for lyrical content and aesthetic design, as I said earlier. But the lines written in this battle, as any other battle, are ubiquitous. They are omnipresent, if you will. That means that it's possible for one to know the meaning of every single line if one were to know all there is to know about a certain character. There's a website called Rap Genius that doesn't sponsor me, that can help you be that person. I'm not Rap Genius. I don't want to be a Rap Genius. I don't want to spit out what you can read in 3 seconds on the internet. I do what Rap Genius does not do, and I'm about to do it. Let's start simple. Character analysis. As I said, this is not Boba Fett's first appearance in the epic rap battles. Boba Fett appeared for an entirely unnecessary 6 seconds of Vader vs. Hitler Part 3.
They call me Boba Fett, you wanna mess with me? I'll put my balls in your mouth like Boba T. I got a jetpack, yo, you know I steal the show, cause when I rock a microphone,
contributing nothing but shock value and almost infantile wordplay to an already dry representation of the character. The only aspect of that Boba Fett that was anywhere remotely relevant to anyone in any time and place is that it was short, it had no backstory and no meaning, and it left us with an aura of mystery of why he was even there in the first place. The same effect that the real Boba Fett has in the real Star Wars movies.
I'm sick, hell no!
Anyway, the transition from that Boba Fett to this Boba Fett is like your 3rd grade color by number contest winner versus Picasso. This is what we needed out of the star that Boba Fett has become. I consider the character as a clean slate with simple instructions. Number 1, I look awesome. Number 2, I shoot things. Number 3, I major in badassery. They took that and ran with it far, far away. The man of few words had a lot to say in terms of appearance and lyrics, ironically. It's no joke, Boba is mostly known for having little emotion and little to say. But what they did here is channel that enigma and fleshed it out to be one suited for rap combat. There are parts where the character expresses certain emotion through movement. Those movements are slow, steady, locked and commanding. That's the Boba Fett we know. I'll dig into the roots of his breakdancing abilities a little bit later. Nice Peter played the voice of Boba Fett, and fittingly so after the coincidental change from Ray William Johnson.
Who you calling schizophrenic? You got two different voices.
He purposefully recreated the voice and even pronounced the quotes in the same exact way that they are heard in the original movie.
He's no good to me, dead. You're no good to me, Deadpool. He's worth a lot to me. You're worth a lot to me.
And that's a mandatory Easter egg when a character only has a few lines to choose from. How can you not say them exactly the way that they're heard? And it's also mandatory to use those quotes in lyrical form, but that's also a given. Now, the Star Wars fan base, as I can tell on the internet, is torn between which voice actor they like better for Boba Fett. The original, Jason Wingreen, who did kind of the dark Boba Fett that you hear.
He's no good to me, dead. What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
Or the redubber, Tamara Morrison's? I don't know.
He's no good to me, dead. What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
Who also played Boba's father, Jango the board game. Now, if you ask me in terms of voice acting, the original, the one that Jason did in the original Star Wars movie, unquestionably dominant. And although Morrison did eventually improve his impression of the bounty hunter,
You're more used to me, dead.
the Boba Fett that we hear in the battle is unquestionably the one that they should have used. And the voice is like 99% spot on. The few quotes that we hear Boba retell in rap form, they sound exactly the same way that they did in the original. Like, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So how can... I mean, there's no question. It had to be done that way. And this also acts as a celebration of the original voice actor, Jason Wingreen, who unfortunately passed away a week after this video was released. Rest in peace, Better Fett. Then we have Deadpool, who's the opposite of the talking spectrum for Boba Fett. But he also hides some quirks in there, you know, like cosplaying and referencing pop culture icons, waving to an extended audience, or even doing his makeup at some parts. Deadpool's voice is also consistent with the original and is as all over the place as you would expect him to be. What's interesting about the character Deadpool is that he knows he's fictional, he knows he's a comic book character, he knows he's in a rap battle. People are watching. So he addresses the audience as so. We always see the characters looking at the camera to create the effect that they're looking directly at the opponent. But the use of Deadpool's Chinese fire drill in the middle of the side angle shot where he just kind of walks away from everything and just approaches the camera and like literally just talks to you guys, like, what's up? And that's the only way it would have worked, of course, and since the fourth wall is obviously the coolest to break, you are free to do so. And your parents shouldn't punish you for breaking that wall, but don't count on it. Now, we know that Nice Peter and Epic Lloyd did not know a lot about the character of Deadpool beforehand, and after seeing what they made out of the character, and how much of his original concept is fleshed out in this battle, really, makes it clear that we don't really understand how much goes into making something like this, and it's taken for granted by a lot of people. You can't even try to read the comments in an Epic Rap Battles video because they're all just suggestions or saying who won. The support and the praise and all of that is like separate from the video, and it's still there and it's very present and they hear a lot of it, but the video itself is a war zone of the majority. A lot of money can make something look cool, but it can't change the content of it. You see Deadpool and it's not just a costume slapped on a generic interpretation of a character. It's not a name branded on a recurring face. This Deadpool and this Boba Fett are both one of, if not the most accurate representation of any character in the history of Epic Rap Battles of history. And that's heavily attributed to one reason: the mask. There's always the issue of finding someone who looks like a certain character, and once you get past that obstacle, can that person create the same facial expressions as the original? Can they make you feel like you're watching that character instead of someone pretending to be that character? Now, Peter and Lloyd have proven their versatility in the way that they can change the way that they look and their way that their face feels. And while that provokes a more commendable performance, we walk away from those battles knowing that it's just someone dressed up as a certain character. But when you have that mask, behind the scenes becomes the main act. And what I mean is that anybody can be behind that mask. It's just about finding the right body. That person directs their focus only on their body because their mouth doesn't matter. Sure, we see Deadpool's mouth moving, but it doesn't matter what he's saying. Now, we know that some lines have strictly storyboarded finger pointing and head nodding, but it also allows for more risky storyboarding, since no mouths have to match between the cuts. The freedom of editing makes for lax lyrical coverage, and the lack of perfect lip sync allows there to be more creative body movement, free to not fit with mouth continuation errors, with separate people appearing and popping up for separate lines. In the epic rap battles, we see the usage of multiples of the same character appearing as an excuse for lines overlapping each other. That's much easier to pull off when the mouth's motor transition from one line into the next doesn't have to be plausible. When you have that mask, when you have that body, and when you have that voice, you don't get an actor, you get that character. This is Deadpool versus Boba Fett in the purest form it could ever be. So this is an epic rap bonus battle, and it lives up to the name of being that. It references pop culture and uses unique body movement against the norm of the formula, similar to the character of Deadpool. Now, a breakdancer as a choice for fitting a comic book character is a great way to animate a real, tangible human body. It would work for Deadpool, but how about the other guy? Yes, it does, because it is used in moderation. The dominance of the physical presence of the real character, the way he's supposed to be, allows for the wiggle room of not-so-frequent custom behavior, as every appearance in ERB is exaggerated to fit the description of epic, rap, and battle. It is that wiggle room that allows derivation of plot relevance, like the dreaded mention of Fetty Wap, to be acceptable. It's a tug on the nut to the average viewer who doesn't need to have that much time to make the connection between the dated surname Fett and the more recently popular name of the trapper Fetty Wap. Aside from that line, this is not a battle where you're gonna get most of the references on the first listen, and it takes me back a little bit because they really prioritize the content of both sides of this battle instead of going for a lot more of the you're gonna get this right away, let me shove it in your face line. You know, there's a few, but there's a lot of deep content, and like I said, it takes a mind for each character to understand each reference. However, in practice, these lyrics are the usual work of art. You have great examples of relevant rhyming, the total opposite of how Boba Fett appeared in the last battle. And relevant rhyming will be the next installment of the Chisel This instructional series, so please stay tuned for that, but let's have a little demonstration of what that might mean.
Do you guys honestly think that I would screw this feud up and lose to the dude a huge toothy coochie chewed up? Banana. I do damage when I brandish my katanas, man. I'll slice you up then vanish in my lonely butt pajamas.
You need to use words that make sense when you rhyme things. If you don't, you're just as good as a professional thesaurus cataloger. When plot points fit into those rhyme schemes, especially when those rhyme schemes are abnormal, that's a unique privilege over other basic rap. Now, the lyrical and diss content of this battle is primed on the flaws between each hero. Besides the obvious, I know that there's obvious lines, you don't have to point them out. Seriously, you came to watch a critical analysis. If you wanted to hear somebody regurgitate what you already know, why are you watching this video? Deadpool repeats the motif of Boba being a character that got worshipped by the fans but ultimately screwed over in terms of plot and time progression. Evolution of the series. A character who was never intended to be a headliner acquired such fates of those kinds of characters. Little dialogue, little backstory.
I barely even know enough about you to diss you.
And a pointless and unglamorous death sequence. Go hug Jar Jar and go to a galaxy far, far away, be with the other character that everybody hates, because everybody hates you too. You don't remember you. Who are you? Meanwhile, Boba Fett uses Deadpool's conception to his advantage. Being a newer breed of superheroes, mostly everything in the book is already covered by Deadpool's predecessors. So naturally, he's a combination of parts that make other superheroes super, and what make him Deadpool.
Bitch, who you calling clone? You're a Deathstroke ripper. You stole Spider-Man's eyes and Snake Eyes' weapon. You got Wolverine's powers, man, your comic sloppy seconds.
Also, there's a recurring theme of using methods to kill an unkillable person, as Boba Fett is a bounty hunter and would have been tasked to get the world rid of this person who cannot be rid of.
But you're worth a lot to me, if I bring you back dead. Now take a lesson from a genuine assassin who's blasting foes. You got that power of regeneration. Now run home and heal from this disintegration.
And Boba uses those words to cut around the corners that you can't drive around, to effectively rid of a regenerator in the only way possible. Disintegration.
Disintegration.
Or dissolving, a word that is relevant on both sides. Deadpool can kind of only kick it if he gets disintegrated and melted or decomposed, something that involves him not being able to grow back whatever he loses. There's a ton of wordplay throughout the entire body of lyrics, but what makes it special is something else called relevant rhetoric, using words that are suitable for the canon of both story arcs. Speaking of canon,
You let a Kiwi hold your gun and he fucked up your cannon.
playing with the word canon in a story completely driven by factual time events, and that also includes weaponry such as cannons, is a perfect fit to the puzzle. Also, a word like Deadpool requires a double syllabic rhyme for it to be effective, and they were able to tie in the double rhyme of med school into Deadpool's plot. I love that rhyme. And come on, tell me that you don't feel it. You don't feel like it's better when both syllables rhyme. Tell me that med school and Deadpool doesn't just feel better than blasting foes and Mandalorian flows. There's something to it that you feel when it's double. There's a semi-appropriate use for curse words in this battle. You know, emphasis and syllabic spacing.
Yo, pal, cable fucking basic.
I guess you'll be right if a fucking bird attacks. We don't talk about movies, cause you got dick to say.
But again, it does suit the nature of Deadpool to go overboard in vulgarity, so it works here. And while there is some generic diss material sprinkled throughout the battle,
You ain't gotta have the skills like that.
it's what you expect from a piece with so many lines. Those filler lines only really exist to make room for the points that they precede, and those points make the battle meatier. A common phrase that I hear when people try too hard to find criticism in Portrayal is, that person would never say that. It's not their character. Unless it's something outrageous.
Like something that I'll mention when I present the 5 ERBs that I would have made differently.
Most language is omnipresently available for a character to use. You don't want to limit vocabulary just for the character's suspected IQ level. Unless, of course, it is that IQ that makes that character a character. You know, you can't have Dumb and Dumber spewing science in the battle, and you can't have Bill Nye or Isaac Newton sounding like a hillbilly. That's what doesn't fit. The intelligence of a character, otherwise not affected by it, should be packaged with the intelligence of the writer, and should not be limited where unnecessary. As in, it wouldn't make sense for them to use that word because they're dumb or they're a scientist. I'm being very clear here. And if there's any lines that are subpar or sound subpar, if not said in a comedic manner, are assisted by the little glitches and quirks in the beat.
I only need 5 lines, cause I look fucking great.
That also fit in with breakdancing as well.
Regeneration.
Now for aesthetics. This battle did something unique with 3D motion tracking and Steadicam. If you don't know what a Steadicam is, it's basically this huge stick that if you were to ever put your hands on it, you think it was supposed to do the opposite of what a Steadicam sounds like it would do. You grab it, and if you don't know how to use it, the camera's just flying everywhere. But you're supposed to hold it like this and put your fingers on it and guide the camera, and it's supposed to track your weight and make up for any imbalances. And I'm telling you, it looks unreal. It's so different than just holding the camera with your hand, and I don't get it. But in this battle, they captured the cinematography that makes a fictional action movie a fictional action movie. The steady approach, the camera rotations, and even that beautifully orchestrated fight scene that they had to hire someone to do, that's how much they cared about it, is speedily cut to create the effect of large action in a small environment. The backgrounds are a world of their own. There is always an environment that has to be created in a piece like this, and you never want it to look stale or not alive. These backgrounds are living backgrounds as their characters exist in them. The Imperial starship is just a stable location, there's not much to move in it, so they make you see the stars flickering in and out through the windows. And there you see little dancing baby Jesus in the corner. My friend Kevin Cross said that it's a space pod, but I'm going with the little Jesus doll. Now the sewer that Deadpool appears to be vaping in has a little manhole that shows the stars too. Oh, how nice. And the drop shadows on each character really plant them in the environment that they're supposed to be in. And you can see the difference when there's a lack of a drop shadow. Now obviously Boba Fett needed to use a blue screen to key out properly, but I feel that the blue screen did some injustice to Deadpool in some areas. You can see the edges in some places, and there's even sort of a purple light cast on him in some, but hey, it's much better than green edges or green lights, I have to say that. The sound effects decorate the action as well in this battle, as they are native to both movies, you know, boom, explosions, punches, sound effects, clubs.
You're a troll, you ain't gotta have the skills I got when I call Boba Fett 1.
You know, all the glamorous stuff. They add another sense to what you're seeing. A certain thrill that these action movies exist for, that instills excitement in those little eardrums of yours. The beat is industrial and fits with the location and themes of both sceneries. And the little birds chirping to the beat only appear in Deadpool's verse.
Maybe I'll write a letter and mail it in your face.
I can come in a slave one, cause your style makes me space sick.
So you see that Deadpool's verse is more exciting and upbeat, and then the beat gets calmer and a little bit more serious when Boba Fett starts. So aside from visuals, there is clearly a story told audibly as well. Speaking of audible, did you... So thank you for watching this episode of Chisel This. These take a long time to make. While I do care about the series, at the end of the day, this is a review of something that somebody else made on the same platform, and I don't like being regimented to that. I like making my own things, and I want you to watch those things. Mateo, you should totally be an ERB. Well, not just anybody gets in an epic rap battle of history. People are recruited for their talent. They don't want to recruit me for reviewing their content and half worshipping it and half making fun of it sometimes. Like, no, like, I have to make original content. That's what I'm here for. That's what I've always wanted to do, and I got a lot of support by doing this, and I'm going to continue to do it if it makes you guys happy. But I want you to know that original content is prioritized. It should always be. I try very hard to make these reviews as original as possible, as a revolution against the reactor community. This is the complete opposite. Completely sectioned off from reactors. That's what this has to be. Anything short of that, I'll be failing. And I can't have that happen. Please understand that these take time that I don't always have. I spent most of the day staring at a blank screen, not knowing what to say because I knew nothing about either character. A lot of contemplation gets around when you get told that I can find this on Rap Genius. You're not a genius on philosophy. Why should you pretend that you are? I'm not. I like lyrics. I know a little bit about them. A lot about them. I know the way that they should sound, the way that they should be performed and presented. I know the way to portray a story through representation. I'm not gonna get anywhere out of that door until I start doing more original stuff. So, stay tuned for the next ERB installment of Chisel This, where I will detail the 5 epic rap battles of history that I think are superior to any other content on the interwebs. Then on the flip side, on the same day, same time, simultaneous upload, you will be getting the 5 epic rap battles of history that I would have made differently. They are by no means bad. You could say that they're my least favorite because obviously I wouldn't change the ones that I like. But conceptually, visually, lyrically, there's a lot of things that I would do differently. That's what I'll be presenting. You have to understand that I'm reviewing content that somebody made, somebody worked really, 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 really hard on. And I'm in the same boat, except I'm working alone, and they're working with a lot of money and a lot of people. But the premise is still there. It's content, and people don't want to have this much dedicated to it, especially if it's negative. I'm gonna get working on that, but please subscribe for the original content. I really hope to bring more episodes of Chisel This where I teach and share my viewpoint of the art world with you. It's foreign, it's the study of things, but it's a foreignology. It's Matt Forio and the study of things. Forenology. Phrenology. Look forward to the album Forenology coming out 2016, if you let me work on it. So subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes of Chisel This and for more original raps. If you would like to see the chisel in action, check out the original songs playlist linked in the description and or on the screen. But that's all for you today. I'm Mateo, and I'll catch you guys later.